Hey guys, how you doing? So, now let me tell you what I'm going to be building today. I was on the internet this week. I wanted to I was going to buy one, a dueling tree. Now dueling trees, I was checking, and they're about, for a rimfire dueling tree is about between 100 and 150, depends where you buy it. And freight to my house here in Southern California is between $50 and $75. So we're looking on the high side, $225 delivered to my house for a dueling tree. I think that's pretty crazy. That's for a rimfire dueling tree. The centerfire pistol caliber dueling trees, I saw them as cheap as 180, 200 in there, as much as 275 for a rimfire dueling, for a centerfire dueling tree. And I can't see, and plus same freight, $50 to $75 freight, depending where you bought it. I can't see spending $3 1/4 for a dueling tree. So all this metal that I bought today, I can probably make both dueling trees today. I'm thinking I have enough metal to make both dueling trees, a rimfire and a centerfire, for about 30 bucks. I'll tell you, these squares, these are 1/4 inch steel squares. These are 90 something cents. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly. 94 cents each. These are 94 cents. So these are going to be on my, because it's 1/4 inch plate, these are going to be my centerfire dueling tree targets. The rounds are a lot more money because they have to plasma cut them and they have waste. So the rounds are more money, the squares are cheaper, so I'm going to use these. And for my rimfire dueling tree, since they have these nice rounds in the junk bin for 30 cents a pound, so this is, all of that steel was 19 pounds, so I'm thinking these were like 30, not even that, they're like, it's less than a half a pound, there's like 15 cents each. So it just depends what you see there that day when you go to IMS, but they have a lot of good deals. Alright, enough buying. I'm going to get to work. You guys can watch. Sorry I didn't take you along with me every step, but here's what I did so far. I welded on a piece of DOM tubing. I just tacked it on the bottom there. And then I got 2 pieces of 1/2 inch rod, laid them on long side, and welded them in, and welded them on the sides to really get a good weld. So that's my base. That's the base where I'm going to slide it into a tripod I'm going to build. Alright, so that's the first thing I did. The second thing I did, I feel like such a moron for not bringing you guys along, but the second thing I did was I laid out all these plates. See all the plates along the back? I laid out all those plates, and I started tacking them in. See, most of them are just tacked. You can see they're just a little, this tacked. This one's been welded, color been welded. And then I realized, hey, I was supposed to be showing you guys all this because I was just going crazy. So at that point, I'm going to finish welding the sides. You notice that they're all long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an angle grinder and just cut all these pieces off to make them the same length as the back piece of plate. And these are those little plates I got that were in the junk bin over at IMS. So inexpensive. So let me weld these up. I'll show you me welding one of them up right now because I've been remiss and I should have been showing you me welding. Of course, welding on camera sucks, but here I'm gonna weld one. All right, let me get it going, and I'll show you me welding one in. I got the temperature turned down on this. It's still hot, but not as hot as it was, and I got the wire speed down a bit too. So there, what I was doing was as I was welding, I was making with the welder little circles. And it's not the greatest weld in the world, but it's going to hold. As I said before, I'm not a professional welder. This is a hobby, so that's not that bad of a weld. There have been better ones along the way, but that one's not that bad. So I want to finish welding these in, and then I'll show you me cutting in the plates. As you can see, I've got the welds done on all these pieces. So I got the main welds all done. Got these welded in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and cut those tabs on all those. See those little tabs sticking out? Because I was buying out of the scrap bin, I was just happy to have something that was close, so I don't mind doing a little cutting on these to get them right, so I'm going to cut them now. As you can see, I got this locked down in the vise. So what I'm going to do is just get my angle grinder and come by and just cut this off. So I got the first one cut off and smooth. What I'll do is I'll go back and cut all these off with the angle grinder till I got them all nice and smooth, and then I'll weld these in. So you saw me weld the other side, so I'm going to finish cutting these and weld these all in, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next to get it to where the targets will actually swing back and forth. As you can see, guys, I got this thing all welded up, cut, welded, and done. This is the next step. Now I'm going to be cutting some DOM tubing, 1 inch. It's actually 5/8 inch DOM tubing, but I'm going to be cutting it into 1 inch lengths. And what I'll do is I'll weld a piece on each one of these. 1 inch piece of DOM tubing on the top of each one of these, so I can make the little, what would you call them? I guess you'd call them hinges. There's going to be a piece of DOM tubing that's going to be the hinge that the target will actuate on. So let me weld those. We'll cut those up. You've seen me cut DOM tubing before. I'm just going to cut it with the Sawzall, and then I will weld it on there. I'll show you me welding on like 1 or 2 of them so you can see what I'm going to be doing. So there, I got my DOM tubing all cut. Now I kind of know why they charge so gosh darn much for these things. This is taking me better part of the afternoon. It's already starting to get dark outside. So anyway, I got my DOM tubing cut. I got my steel all prepped. You see how I got it all shiny? I polished up the tops of these, and I also polished all the tops of those so they'll be easier to slide back and forth. And I'll probably put a little oil on them when I'm ready to actually assemble it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure these and put a line in the center of each one with a magic marker with a Sharpie, and I'll line these little things up on these in the middle and weld them in just like that. So I got one all lined up perfect. I hope looks pretty gosh darn close to me. I got all lined up there on that line I put. So I'm going to hold this, hold my breath, and tack it. Wow, what a lousy weld. Alright. Well, I tacked it. It was a really bad weld. It's not hot enough. I forgot I was welding this thinner stuff. Alright, I cranked the welder up. It's now up to the highest level it'll go for welding this 1/4 inch plate. And I kicked the wire speed up a wee bit. Let me see if I can get actually a weld on this. Yeah, you see that's an even stick. It's got a flat little spot right now. So let me weld one on again and give it a shot. There, I got a weld, and it's straight. Cool. Now I know I was having such a hard time welding these bits together because this metal is just, I guess it's so hard it's not taking the welds. I got it cranked up as high as it'll go. Let's see if I can weld into this. You can see how hot that weld was. I cranked on that. It's on there, but I'm going to weld it a little better, really crank on it. Alright, there. Actually, I got some good penetration on the second time around, so Yeah, that's good penetration. That was a hot weld. So I'm going to go back and weld all these in. And then I got to make the tripod. Then I got to make the every swinging target, and then it'll be done. So what I've done is, since I have 8 spots, I got this half-inch rod, and I basically cut it into 6.5-inch. This one's actually 7. Well, 6 and supposed to be about 6.5-inch average. Yeah, 6.5-inch pieces. And then what I'm gonna do is mark it 2-inch, and I'm gonna heat them up with a torch and bend them. So the 2-inch mark will actually be the hinge. So I'm gonna heat this up and bend this at 2 inches and make it like an L, and that'll be the hinge. That'll drop in, and I'll weld this to this, and that'll be the pivot. So that's what I'm working on right now. As you can see, it's red hot now. So what we'll do is get this piece of pipe here, see if I can give it a good bend. Make it a nice 90. And I will just, there, got it at 90. Now I'll drop it in some water to cool it. There you go, guys. See, I got one. Turn this off. I got one of these done. And it's just a little L, basically. Now I got to make 8 more. So I'll get to making them, and I'll show you what I'm going to do after I get these all done. So what I got set up right here is that L I just welded up. L I just bent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it to this plate, tap it to this plate. Another little piece of brass is a spacer to make it so it's kind of in the middle. I didn't have any sheet steel the right size, so I'm using that little piece of brass. So I'm going to crank up my welder here. So there we go. That's pretty close to the middle. Close enough for government work. So I got one done. Look at that. Welds are nice. Got one done. Alright guys, I got all the flags made, or the swinging targets. Now I gotta make the foot pedestal. I'm gonna weld this to this, just so I have a stable base to weld the legs on, which I'm gonna weld these legs on like this. Weld 3 legs on. Straight enough for me, so I'm gonna get these. I notched them out a little bit. I'm gonna hold one right here. Lie that and weld it in. Tack. Gotta weld 2 more legs on there. Okay, last leg time. So what I'm going to do, you don't have to watch me weld for half an hour. I'm going to just weld the poop out of this and get this done. Well, it's done, kinda. I got it all set up here. I had to reinforce that base. I put some reinforcing bars on there, if you can see them. Bring it back up here. Kind of hard to see, but I did make a big mistake here. See, this works fine. These all work fine. But this one don't work too good. Right here, this one. This one's a fail. This is a giant fail. So what I'm going to do is weld a small plate here so it has a stop. But that one there's a fail. But I'm not going to mess with it anymore tonight. I'm going to take it out and shoot it tomorrow. Well, comment. Let me know how to fix it. How you would have done it. I really would like to know. If there's a pattern anywhere out there on the internet, that'd be really cool to have too. But there we go. There's a dueling tree. I have all the parts to make the dueling tree for the rim fire. This is for center fire. But I don't know how I'm going to make it yet. But there you go. You know, I got to post everything, the fails and the good ones. So I think this is a fail, but I'm going to shoot it anyway. All right, bye guys. God bless. Have a good night.